Let's make some fun faux tickets. Hello and welcome to the Treasured Page. I'm Melanie and this is our quiet crafting space. And if you've been following along with the making of this mini journal in my Sender Signature series, which can be found on my playlist under Sender Signature 2024, you will see how this has all come together, and the theme of this journal is vintage adventure. This came about by running some swaps internationally over on my Facebook page, and also anybody who would like to take part at home, anybody learning some of the basics of junk journaling, anybody that would like to de-stress, unwind, relax, just find some craft that you can do very simply using scraps and things that you would have lying around your home, then this is a really nice relaxing project for you, one that you will be able to just pick up some glue, some scissors, and if you've got some basic supplies like a circle punch, that could be advantageous, or if you've got a hole punch, that could be useful too. If you would like to have a look at the playlist, you will see that we are making these signature papers just by folding them together and creating a little booklet that you can either bind by tying some string around the whole pack of papers, or sewing using a very simple stitch called the 3-hole pamphlet stitch. You can have a look how that's done. By looking back on previous videos in these playlists, you can see and follow along. And if you would like to make your own journal such as this, something simple and easy, then this may be of interest for you. And you can also put this in an elasticated case and be able to journal straight away. And you can use your junk papers, you can use scrap bits of papers, you can coffee dye, tea stain papers, you can use pages out of books that you may have at home, you can use paper bags, glassine bags, anything you get your hands on, anything that helps you declutter your home. This is what junk journaling is all about. So today we're delving into any kind of decorative card or paper. You could use an old calendar. You can have a look at things that you may have out of big books. Maybe you've got some old books that you're not using and they've got some nice pictures in them, such as an atlas. Maybe you've got some sheet music lying about. If you've got anybody in the family who has previously learnt music, or done something within the schooling, or have done something at college where they've got these things lying around cluttering up your home with old coursework and things like that, you may find you've got some paperwork with some interesting things on them. Something maybe from a vintage era could be nice. You can use digital printouts that you can get. You can have a look at my coffee shop. The link is below. I've got many free digitals that you can have a look at and have a play with. But what we're looking at today is how to make tickets. And just bringing this back in, these strips, I have got this out of a 12 by 12 paper pack. So this is the sort of thing, you can cut it into strips, and then we're looking at a colourful background to begin with. We're going to make these tickets using this sort of paper. It's a lightweight card stock, but you could have thicker card, or you could have paper, and then the more you embellish on it, the thicker it becomes. So if you'd like to have a go at making your own faux tickets, you would need some scissors, perhaps to do some fussy cutting. You would need some glue, ideally with a narrow nozzle so that you can really glue down your embellishment pieces. And ideally you would need a circle punch. I am using a 1/2-inch circle punch, but you could use a larger one. The ticket strip is 12 inches. This has come from this paper pack, but that could be off the side of an A4 sheet of paper or similar, US letter, and it could be a digital kit. And I am working with a 6 centimetre width there, which is around 2.5 inches, and that's the strip. So I'm making some chunky tickets today. This is just a short video to announce this month's project, and we will be looking at tickets in more depth. If you like to follow along with this journal and you've been listening to the story of Nellie Bly, we will be picking that up as we get back into this month's project of making tickets and more ephemera. And I'm just waiting for my parcel to arrive from Louise, who has said she's sent it. So it's very exciting because I will receive more scraps and I will be able to add more pages to this journal and I can continue the story of Nellie Bly. So that's quite exciting. So we're going to be doing that in the next videos coming up. So let's make some tickets. Okay, so this month's project we're going to be having a look at decorative papers, pulling out maybe scrapbooking papers or any kind of nice card stock that you may have. So the project this month is to make 2 ticket strips. You can work out how many tickets that you want to do. This is double-sided 12 by 12 paper pack. I've cut these into strips, and if you have a look at this, we are going to be making faux ticket strips, but chunky ones. So we're looking at this sort of thing. You could bring in other decorative paper, thin paper, tissue paper, any napkin that you could maybe paste down and create strips such as this. Okay, so for this I have used a scoreboard. You don't have to at all, but I've gone and divided them into 4, so it is 3 inches on each ticket section. So I've just scored down there and then I can just allow that to bend. And what I think I will do is, to make these more authentic and look like tickets, is I might take my awl and I might punch some perforation marks down there. That is a step that I haven't got round to yet, so I'm just showing you what I've got so far. So to make the dips and the holes, I have used a 1/2 inch circle punch. You don't have to do that if you haven't got one. You may be able to do wider ones there with a wider hole punch if you have one. And then you can fold it in half so that you can get a half moon shape and just create the holes. So let's just show you this one where I just push that into halfway mark, check either side that that looks about center, and then punch that out, and there we go. That is how that's looking. So this is how to make them. You can use a hole punch if you haven't got a circle punch, and then you can just go on your marked scored line and get that in the center. So your scored line is in the center, and then you just take out your half moon shape all the way around, and that will give you this fun little ticket effect. And then when you get to the end, you just take off the corner like that, just go right into the center, just clip off that. And so that's how that's looking. Then what we're going to do is, from here we're going to use this as our background, and we're going to cover them and embellish them and have some fun playing around with some little micro collages which you can do to decorate them. So each section will be its own decorated ticket, and then on the top you can add some lovely embellishments and things. This is some cut out book page or magazine. This one is a ticket which has been backed with a different colour paper, so it complements. There's a sentiment on there, it says joyful heart, and then I've got a label here from Tracy Fox, so we could double label, maybe they're going in at an angle. I haven't really decided that one. I might want to put some torn paper or something else in the background there, but the point is that whatever you've got here will sort of peep through and be of interest, and then you can just work out what you might like. Maybe you want a bird, maybe you want a butterfly, maybe you want to take some cuttings out of a botanical book, that sort of thing. Just have a play with all your odds and ends or your scraps, and then just make up some nice little tickets. So these are double the width of what a vintage ticket would be. That's actually 6 centimetres, about 2¼ inches. And if I just put a piece of paper over there, you could see that that would be a smaller ticket strip. So you could do them smaller. You don't have to do them chunky. I've just thought that that was a bit different and that we could bring in some more embellishments. And then how these could work is that they could be cut, and then they could be little pockets or tucks, something to embellish pages. So that's 4 different little clusters or pockets or tucks that could be used on pages. And just have a little
play at some compositions here, tearing scrap bits of old paper. You could put a stamp on some of this. Doesn't have to be anything you bought, could just be things you find. Might want to use a blue ink today just for a bit of difference. Just bringing in a bit of colour on this project. I thought that might be nice. Little adventure in itself. Just maybe come out of our comfort zone and use some other colours in our work. Always working in whites and pastels and pales. Maybe bring in a pop of colour somewhere, or maybe go for a more monochrome and have a play around with that. Just do something a bit different. So I'm just using my art glitter glue nozzle here on the Anita's tacky glue, and it's working quite well. I had to put a little bit of water in with the glue just to make it runny, but that's been quite successful. There we go, just have a play around, inking up things you may have, little tickets, labels, any embellishments, anything flat that you might want to bring in. Spare digital kits, you can use some of mine if you'd like, and just have a go, just have a play. You might want to bring in some fabric, you might want to do some slow stitching on top of it. You could do anything you like. You might like the idea of sewing on the ticket, you might want to make the ticket out of fabric but back it onto something and then sew round the whole lot. You could do anything really. I'm just showing you really roughly a general idea of how you can go about this. So just putting on perhaps a focal point will be fun. You can make them oversized, have things that hang off the edge and come down, just something like that. So that is one of our tickets. There we go, all about having some fun. And then don't forget the edges. You might want to come around with a blue, put my corner back in, ink along here, don't forget the dips. Ticket number 1, I'm putting down a homemade label there with butterfly on. Any other decorative papers that you might want to bring in, bring those in now. A little bit of glue there for some fabric, just smoosh that. Have a play. Add in some nice little things that you can find and cut out. And this just came out of a magazine. Been waiting for the perfect project. It's been sitting up here for a long time, and now pleased to say it's going to live here like that. Where's your adventure going to take you? On a nature walk, on a picnic, on an outing, into the city? Perhaps you're going to bring out some nice architecture, all sorts of different things. Really have a think about it, see what you can come back with. Glue everything down, trim things off when you don't want them. There you go, you can have this as a lovely adventure, you can have it as a theme. You've got the map at the back that ties some of this together, and that is all quite fun. So if you want to bring in some stamping, you can. If you've got any space that's just sort of sitting there with nothing going on, you could maybe add a little bit of texture in there and just have some interest coming in. And over here, I just thought there was something that a bit lacking over there. And there we go, there's the tickets. Aren't they sweet? And you could put in a sentiment if you want to, so we've got little sentiments coming in. And if you want to bring in a bold focal point, you could do that and just really have a play and see what you can come back with. So they can be folded in half and used throughout a journal as independent little ticket. They could then come and be toppers for something else in the journal, and they could have something out the back, some other scraps and things poking out the back, and that's a nice little focal point in its own right. So each one would work just like that, and they could be put anywhere in the journal then. And then of course you could use this if you want to. This is the freebie from last month on my Ko-fi page. This is a nice lacy background. There are several others there, but this was the free one. And so you could use that as a substrate, something like that. So the ticket strips can be as long as you like and orientated in whichever way you fancy. You could have one orientated this way and the other orientated that way. You can go for thinner strips that could definitely be side tucks or belly bands in our signatures, or you could do the longer strips that can be detached and used throughout the journal on different pages. I'm really looking forward to seeing the pictures on this one, and I'm really looking forward to seeing how they're going to be clipped and pinned and sewn into the journals. Have fun with this, and above everything else, guys, just slow down and make crafting time for you. Bye bye now.